This is the Friday Night Fever Afterburn, sponsored by Peden Heating and Air Conditioning.
Welcome to Friday Night Fever Afterburn. Week 3 of the season is in the books, and it was a lot of fun tonight. We had a lot of great matchups, a lot of great games, some fantastic highlights, and a lot of surprising scores. Some not so surprising, but we'll get into that in just a second. Before we get going, I do want to address, we are aware of the situation in Port St. Joe. I will let you know now. Please stay out of the comments. I will see thoughts and prayers, and that is all I want to see for now. It is a sensitive situation, and we will get to that after the show. But please refrain from any comments of anything going on other than thoughts and prayers tonight. We're going to get right in. Start off with the scores. Kaleigh, if you will, just take those first 4.
Yeah, starting off tonight with Arnold and Boseman, a Bay County matchup, a personal rivalry we talked about a lot. Arnold gets the road win. They stay perfect. 42-34 is that final. Another good battle out in Bonifay. Walton on the road visiting Holmes County. Walton gets their first win of the season. 50-14 is that final score. Then up in Washington County, Chipley hosting Rutherford. It's a close game, a little bit of a defensive battle there. Chipley wins 14-7 late. And then here in Bay County, another Bay County matchup. Bay wins big 62-0 over North Bay Haven.
We got Vernon picking up their first win of the season, 30-0 on the road at Wewa and then Franklin County. Call them the story of the night. Call them whatever you want. They are 3-0. Coach John Cooper, for the first time in program history, 41-14 over the FAMU DRS Baby Rattlers. Freeport picking up a big win tonight. I know Northview's had some strong victories this season, but Freeport gets it done 36-26. How about those Mariana Bulldogs? They are also 3-0, and boy, do they look unstoppable right now. 39-7. This one on Thursday night. Mosley, Kaleigh was there. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Another rainy night, and Mosley wins 35-7. But we're going to get started with our Friday Night Fever game of the week. That is Arnold at Boseman. Coach Griffin, like you mentioned, headed back. Take this away, Kaleigh.
Yeah, definitely different for Coach Griff being back on the opposite sideline. He said he was excited to be back there, and, you know, he was just taking it all in to begin the game. And the biggest thing from the jump was this is not the Arnold defense that we've seen for the past couple of years. I think they gave up on average 52 points a game last season. So starting out with a couple 3-and-outs looked big for Arnold. Then offensively, they started to get going on the second drive. Will Cotter looked great. Here he is scrambling, finds the end zone. Arnold controlled the game. Special teams was huge tonight for both sides of the ball. You'd see it here for Arnold. You'd see that from the first couple of drives with Arnold. Blocked punts back and forth, couple blocked PATs tonight. So it looked like Arnold's ball game from the start of it. And then I think they just got a little tired. They started to slow down, and Boseman took full advantage of that opportunity. They kind of flipped the script. They had 3 consecutive scores, and so we had a close game entering the half, a 23-20 game. Second half, still competitive. Arnold was able to pull away with it. A lot of penalties towards the end of the second half, kind of slowing down the game, pushing teams back and forth. Hurt Arnold a little bit towards the end, but it was a competitive ball game, and this the first time I'm seeing Arnold in person, and this is not the same team. And then right there for Boseman, Lakota Johnson, I mean, that kid is an absolute playmaker, a huge pickup for the Bucks. I think without him, they wouldn't be doing what they were doing tonight. So Lakota Johnson was huge for them, but Arnold took advantage, and Arnold looks like the real deal this season.
Hey, they are 3-0. I think 2013, the same season they started 2-0. I think they also started 3-0. So the first 3-0 start since 2013. That's more than a decade. Coach Griffin beating his former team tonight with a lot of great athletes over there, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But Arnold, how about that? They start off with a win over Bay. They go on the road last week. We don't get to see how it goes, but they beat up on a Hamilton County team big over there to the east. And then tonight they get another Bay County victory over Boseman. This is now, they've played in the preseason the last few years, and Boseman has really laid it on them.
Yeah.
But as far as the regular season series goes, Arnold is 4-0 on the all-time series. So Arnold Marlins picking up another win. They are 3-0. Coach Griffin and the gang, they got it going. I'll tell you what, they can play defense this year, and that's that coaching staff, that he brought in, getting Coach Pettis coming over from the Tallahassee area, and then he just bringing all these voices to say, hey, like, we're going to have one collective unit to make a rebuild. And that's exactly what they've done. We told you the week 1 of the season when they got that victory. Last year, they were 0-9 and outscored by their opponents, 476 to 9, something like that. 12, they're now 3-0. Yeah, 12. That's what it was. They scored 9 in one game. But yes.
What a
turnaround.
Yeah,
3-0.
turnaround.
If you're not on the Arnold Marlin bandwagon right now, you're doing something wrong, because they're having a lot of fun over there. Before we get to the next game, I know I mentioned the comments and sending the thoughts and prayers. Still tell us, about the teams that you're excited for and everything tonight. Just that specific situation. I was saying, keep the comments concise and no details or anything down there. But tell us about the teams that you're excited about. Show us your support for Arnold. Show us your support for Walton. All those big wins tonight. We are going to head now to Bonifay and Walton. Walton picking up a big 50-14 victory, like we said, but it was tied. It was close. It was 14-14 early in the game, and Holmes County even had a lead for a while. And then, man, that high-powered Walton offense, they just take off. We said this week they're probably the best 0-2 team in the area. They lost, of course, to Mariana in week 1, and then 6A Crestview last week. And then this week you just kind of saw, man, they just got so many athletes. And Holmes County has been playing phenomenal with that 2-0 start, getting wins against Boseman and St. Joe. But tonight, with a kid like Wells Bettenhausen, not Bells Wettenhausen, Wells Bettenhausen, he can sling that thing. Our reporter Ethan, who went to that game, was like, who is their quarterback? And I was like, yeah, he's pretty good. He'll probably be playing college ball for a little while. But they got athletes all over the field, and they get that first win tonight. Coach Keith White, a Holmes County High School alum, getting to do this on a field that he used to play on, coach on. He knows the area well. A big victory for the Walton Braves. Kaleigh, what do you think about Walton and their chances of bouncing back this year?
Yeah, obviously a tough start in their schedule for Walton. Mariana, a great team this season, and then, like you said, playing in Crestview last week. And that was a close game for Walton, so wasn't too large of a loss. Both of their games have been decided by at least a score. So this was definitely their opportunity. They're playing a smaller team, a 1R team. If you're going to bounce back, you have to do it here. And they have such an explosive offense. They have a tough defense. And Holmes County starting out very strong, but they're going to wear you out. Walton's going to wear you out. We saw that there. They really pull away big late. This is just what they needed. They needed that reassurance. They needed that momentum that they have. I mean, this was big for Walton. They'll be back at home next week. So good win for them. If they started 0-3, I think there'd be a lot of question marks, and not a bad loss at all for Holmes County. This is a little bit bigger of a team. It's a tough team. It's been a strong team for seasons. So, not expected outcome, but definitely what Walton needed. And Holmes County, I don't have any doubts for the remainder of their season from this score.
Right, and just kind of bounce off that point, I talked to Coach Womble this week and asked him, is there a little pressure taken off of you after that 2-0 start to come into this game? And, he said, yes and no. We treat every week, like it's, the first game, it's one week at a time, So they're trying to obviously win every football game. But he said, coming in with a 2-0 record does take a little bit of pressure, but their schedule, I don't know if you've looked ahead at Holmes County's schedule, but it is brutal. They've got Chipley on there, Bluntstown. They got a bunch of phenomenal teams the rest of the way, so nothing is easy for those Blue Devils, but a strong 2-1 start.
And I love Coach Womble running out at the beginning, too. We'd love to see that.
I love it. Keep it up, Coach. You're doing great.
But they're a gritty team, so, they can withhold it. They can withstand it.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt there.
I'm looking at a couple comments down here. Some asking about the Bluntstown Tigers. You see that question is already answered. They were on a bye week. We had Bluntstown, Cottondale, Sneeds, and South Walton. Those 4 were on a bye week. So if you're missing those tonight, that's where they are. We'll get to them next week. Franklin County. We'll get to those highlights in just a bit.
Yeah.
But 3-0 for the first time in program history. We're going to head into the Chipley and Rutherford game. That's one where we were really like, man, Rutherford's 0-2, but they are a great football team. Like, this is going to be a tough match for the 2-0 Chipley Tigers, and it really was. Rutherford comes out, and they end up taking a 7-0 lead. And, of course, as it always works, when our cameras are there, the scoring doesn't happen. When our cameras leave, the scoring happens. So we get a 1 Rutherford touchdown in this one, the pass to Jason Havens Jr., and then the cameras have to come back to turn the highlights. Chipley scores twice, and they go on to win this one 14-7. But, man, Chipley, they're kind of unknown. They've done this the last few years where they start off playing against some teams from outside the area. So it's like, okay, they're beating up on them, but how good are they? And then now tonight, we've seen what Rutherford's done, competing with Mosley, taking Bluntstown to triple overtime. We know what Rutherford has. So to see Chipley come in and win this game against, just a hard-nosed Rutherford squad, you got to love it for Coach Buchanan and the guys. They had a big win tonight. They got athletes all over the field, and I know they're loving to start 3-0. What was kind of your take on Chipley when you went and checked on them in the fall?
Yeah, definitely a tough battle between these two teams. Like you touched on a little bit, Chipley lost a couple of good seniors, a strong senior class, so they had to move some guys around and figure it out. But Coach Buchanan's never one to back down from a challenge. He talked about this year we aren't that big threat, we've got to kind of come in with this underdog mentality, and it's looking like it's paying off so far. I mean, there's always going to be talent in Chipley. I mean, when it comes to football, Coach Buchanan in charge of that program, so they're going to push, they're tough, they're strong, and kind of what you expected, a close battle between Rutherford. I've said tough about 100 times, but a very tough team. And so it's exciting to see Chipley coming off that overtime victory, a 1-score win last week, and then they pick it up again 14-7. But had that locker room talk in the halftime, come out, score 2 consecutive scores in the second half to win by 7 points. Big win for Chipley for sure, and I know that felt good. And for Rutherford, I hope they just don't let this get to them. I know Coach Floyd won't let that happen, but these tough losses, it's hard, but that's a very strong team. So hopefully we can see them in the win column soon, but it's just good to see them really pushing and working hard out there.
Absolutely. And I do see a comment that is, catch my phrase, yes, they did not technically compete with Mosley. That I will take that one back. They did not compete with Mosley. They fought to the final whistle, and they scored 28 points. So good catch.
They fought hard.
Mosley definitely, pulled off the gas a bit. Mosley can probably beat any team in Bay County by as bad as they want this year. That's just how good Mosley is. But we'll get to them in just a bit. I would have to agree with that. I wouldn't say compete, but they did fight to the final whistle. I see a score correction of Walton 49-14. We get differing reports all night long, so we'll get to that later this week. But 49-50 looks better for them, so apologies to Holmes County on that, but we'll give them the 50 ball until we get the official scoring, and then we'll check that out for the stories online. Heading to Tommy Oliver Stadium, we got one tonight and then one from last night, but we'll start with the one tonight. Bay versus North Bay Haven. Bay needing a win desperately, and boy, those kids had fun playing out in the rain tonight. Joaquin Waters, he was unstoppable as always. Check out this fade pass, JT bound in the end zone. When you got someone with that size, you might as well just throw it up. You got a 50-50 chance at the very least. And then tonight, Bay High just had North Bay Haven outclassed. I mean, every possession was, score. I mean, the kick returns were going for a touchdown. Joaquin Waters, again, like I said, he's one of the best athletes in the Panhandle. And I'm sorry, I don't know what your dance moves are, but they're fantastic. I love it. I'm sorry for calling it the hokey pokey in the show earlier, but Joaquin Waters, you're killing it. You play football fantastic. The North Bay Haven quarterback, he was just surrounded at all times. I mean, I do not pity you one bit for the job that you had tonight. And I am so sorry that you had to be back there in the backfield, because I'm sorry, I'd be running for my life every time that the ball was snapped to me if I was in that same position tonight. He had a rough go of it, and then the Bay's offense, they just had their way. Caleb Toombs scored twice before the half. Chris Noble scored in the second quarter. It was, 48-0 at the half, and then 62-0 final. Yeah, it was all Bay in this one, and they needed this after the week one loss to Arnold, and then last week playing Mosley. They needed this to kind of get some, okay, we can play football. Like North Bay Haven, They're having a rough year. A lot of their players transferred out. We've talked about this continuously. But Bay, 62-0. It was just they were outclassed on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, again, we talk about these teams. Walton, one of them as well. A lot of teams, unfortunately, with 0-2 starts this year, and it's just the way you stack the schedule sometimes. Maybe when that schedule's being made, Bay may not have thought as Arnold as, being maybe a loss on that schedule. Mosley, tough, experienced team. So it's hard when these teams start out 0-2, and it's, week 3, you got to take advantage of something. You got to get it moving. You got to show off. And so Bay took advantage tonight. North Bay Haven, they've had some turnover and some issues over the last couple months. So not their best season, but Bay, took full advantage of that, was able to showcase what this team has, and big win for them, 62 points. I mean, hey.
Can't frown at that.
No, not at all.
We're going to move on to the next game. That's going to be, Vernon at Wewa, a 30-0 shutout. And again, a team in desperate need of just, hey, we got to get that first win on the board. That was Vernon. They've taken 2 hard losses. They lost to Jay in week 1 and then Boseman last week. So they kind of needed this one. It's kind of similar to Bay. You need the motivation that, hey, we new into the season. We have athletes. We believe that we can play football. We believe that we can have a good season, compete for, I know the playoffs are different this year. So when I say compete for the playoffs, I don't mean, everybody gets in this year, but actually have a quality season, look at a winning record. And tonight they showed, okay, we do have some athletes, and they showed it tonight on this one. This was not the play that they were looking for, but they did end up scoring on the drive. What about those Jackets and the way that they bounced back tonight?
Yeah, again, I sound like a broken record, but 2 teams that are 0-2 to start this season. It's nice going into this knowing you have a 50-50 shot of getting your first win of this season. Wewa with first-year head coach Adam Edwards, Vernon with Coach Tillman, their second year in the program, and I know they're very excited about what he has for this program, the athletes they have. So, this is something, again, they needed this win for sure to prove that, hopefully soon they can talk about looking at, okay, we can get into the playoffs. We can make something happen. So this was the win that they needed as well tonight. And it was nice seeing Vernon. There's a couple athletes for sure on that team, and they all kind of got their names called throughout these highlights. So it's exciting to see that depth and talent that they have over there, and they had that ability to showcase that tonight against Wewa. Unfortunate win for the Gators, but big win for the Yellow Jackets.
Absolutely. Coach Tillman, they're now 1-2 on the season. Wewa 0-3. Before we get to the next game, once again, reminder, beginning of the show, we know the situation going on in Port St. Joe. This is not the platform to talk about that. We will get to that later this week. If you're in the comments and you're asking about it, please refrain from doing so. We will update you on all of that later this week. But this is not the time or place to discuss that in public. We will go to the Franklin County game where Coach John Cooper and his crew are 3-0 for the first time in program history. Kaleigh, you went over there and he just talked about, okay, it's my second season. We got to get something going. How excited are you to see Coach Cooper and the gang 3-0 on the year?
And just talking about the program history that's being started there. I remember last year when I went over there, Coach Cooper just talked about wanting to bring football back to this community and give something to do on Friday night for these players, for the fans, for just the whole entire community. I mean, it's just so exciting to see what is happening over in East Point. I know everyone out there is so excited for this. They have a bunch of talented kids. We see it throughout every sports season between, football, basketball, baseball, and a couple of these athletes are on this field from all of those sports this season. So it's good to see everyone coming out to play this game. Coach Cooper cheering on from the sideline. Such a passionate guy. We'd love to see him just so excited about this program. Sadik Jones had a huge play tonight. He had a big kickoff return last week for the score. So that sophomore is doing some big things over. I know he's a key player for them, but they have a bunch of athletes out there. So again, it's just so exciting to see what's happening for Franklin County. This is something that this community's been wanting for a long time, and now they finally have that 3-0 best start in program history. So I just hope they can keep it rolling.
And I think we said, was it 4 games in the last 5 years that they won? Is that before this season?
Yeah. They haven't had a winning season.
They've had one in program history. I know that. One season in program history, they've had a winning record. I think they were 6-5. They're now 3-0 right now. So, man, you just got to be happy for those Franklin County Seahawks over there. They're just rolling right now. And it's difficult, of course, like we always say, to get all the way over there to East Point for those games. On a rainy day, I'm texting, Coach Cooper, hey, you guys going to be playing? He's like, we're playing unless they tell us there's lighting in the area, we can't play. We're playing no matter what.
He wanted his players to play in this type of condition, rainy ball.
And they loved it. And it ended up being a huge, huge victory for those Franklin County Seahawks.
The most ideal conditions, but you gotta have fun out there.
Yeah, I hope that you guys were nice and warm and dry watching from your homes tonight, because we got sopping wet. My socks are over there. They're disgusting. I brought an extra pair of socks tonight, but
back-to-back nights in the rain.
My apologies. Spencer, do we have the Mosley highlights from last night? Okay, we will, before we get into next week's games, we're going to go to the Mosley game last night. Again, they won past Rickards 35-7.
Shout out.
Tell us about those Dolphins.
Shout out, Cade, real quick, from the beginning, leading the Dolphins out. And this was a rainy ball game to start out. I know it was pretty heavy pouring for you at Tommy Oliver, but it wasn't too bad over in the Sandhills tonight. But this one started out with a downpour. Mosley was strictly on the ground to start as well, just with those conditions. Didn't want to take any chances here, but they were still able to, make something happen on the ground. They have a lot of athletes over there. We talk about their experience, their depth, everything they have out there. So they really got it rolling offensively and defensively to start the game. Rain started to dry up, so we're going to go through the air. Sammy Freitas to Jack Massey. Celebrations weren't really allowed tonight, so we got kind of a good one there, or last night, but after that, we didn't really get anything else. But yeah, Mosley was controlling this game. I stayed for the first half and the third quarter. They had the game easily in the first half. No scores in the third quarter, but they had the shutout all the way till the fourth quarter. Rickards was able to get one score in, but it was nice to see this Mosley team in person for once. Just a very talented, deep roster, and their experience shows. The coaching shows. Everything that they have really shows. So they look great last night, 3-0. I don't want it to happen. I don't know who can stop them because they look solid. I mean, Raiden Bruins over here, back-to-back sacks. I mean, kid looked great. Everyone looked great. So.
Yeah,
Mosley look good.
When you got a couple of Power 5 kids on your defense, just running around and making plays like that. If you're it doesn't matter what high school you are. When you got a kid going to the SEC, when you got a kid going to Rutgers, like, it's hard to get past that. I know, again, like I said, with North Bay Haven's quarterback, if I was out there, I'd be running for my life.
Yeah, and it was a team effort. It wasn't one guy offensively or defensively. So they have the talent.
They have unlimited weapons. You know, this week I highlighted, hey, Carson Griffin, he's been off to a fantastic start this season. Yeah. And then it's like, Tammy's like, you know what? I got weapons all over the field. Like Carson's my deep ball threat, but I got guys everywhere. Jack Massey, Sammy Chisholm at running back. He literally has athletes everywhere. Yeah. He can say, hey, this guy's going to score twice tonight. This guy's going to score twice tonight, and just make it happen, because that's the magician that Sammy Freitas is. They are the best team that we cover in the area. They're also the largest school that we have in the area this year, but I'm very excited. This is now my 4th season covering football here in the Panhandle, and I'll say right off the bat, this is easily their best team. The one that went to the playoffs in 2021 and made a deep run. I think they're pretty comparative in that sense. So we'll see how far Mosley can go this year. I think that they can go on a deep run, but time will tell. We're getting into the district schedules coming up soon, so we'll see how that all plays.
Yeah, they've obviously played smaller classifications so far this season.
And again,
but pretty convincing wins with that as well.
Right, and I've seen some of the rankings start to come out, and Mosley's not, in the top 10 in their classification. Some people are going, whoa, where's Mosley? Strength of schedule right now matters. I mean, again, I think Bay's going to end up winning a lot of games this year. I think that Rutherford, I think they're going to end up playing some games. But when you got teams that start the year 0-3 and 1-2, it hurts your strength of schedule for sure. So Mosley, they're certainly, once they start beating those teams in their district, they're going to start rising in the ranks. Right now, they haven't got up there yet, but time will tell. Do we have next week's game, Spencer? We do have next week's games. We're going to get right into that. Again, the Thursday night matchup, Navarre and Mosley, they're back at Tommy Oliver Stadium, Holmes County and Rutherford. We've seen Rutherford in 3 close battles this year. They got another very tough test with Holmes County coming to town on Friday. South Walton going to Arnold. That's one that you keep going, man, that should be a fun one. We got a 3-0 Arnold. South Walton coming off a bye. Bluntstown and St. Joe. we will let you know. We'll let you know how that's going to play out this week. Vernon and Chipley, I'll let you take this one. I'm hogging all the mic time here.
You're out of breath over there. Vernon and Chipley, that's the Washington County battle. That'll be an exciting one. Vernon coming off a big win, Chipley coming off a couple close wins. So we'll see what happens with that one. Mariana, Boseman, another good one. Boseman's, yeah, Boseman, interesting. These two teams in the district, you wouldn't think that. But yeah, now they're 2A district. So Mariana, they look pretty unstoppable as well this season. Boseman, they're still working hard out there, so they're not going to let any team just run all over them. Franklin County, Liberty County, the battle of the counties. Franklin County, can they make it 4-0 on the road? And then Freeport and Cottondale, another one that we've been kind of eyeballing this week.
That could be fun. That was one that we circled earlier for potential for our Friday.
There's a couple good ones this week.
We got a lot of good matchups, but that's one that we definitely were like, especially if Freeport gets the win, and they did tonight. That could be a potential game of the week. We're not going to seal it, set it in stone, but keep an eye. That could be our game of the week. Sneed's coming off the bye. They're going to go to Tallahassee, face the FAMU Doctors, as Spencer likes to call them.
So far, too, our teams against Florida A&M.
What's that?
So far, our teams against Florida A&M, the two we've seen.
They've done well.
Yeah, 2-0 so
Cottondale
far.
picking up a big win last week. Franklin getting a win tonight. I think that's a favorable matchup for Sneed's next week. We'll see. Bay going to Escambia County. That should be a tough one for the Tornadoes. North Bay Haven and Jefferson County. There's a chance. There's a chance. North Bay Haven has had a rough go with it, but Jefferson County in recent years, they've struggled. There's a chance. We'll see how that goes. West Florida and Walton, that's always a good one. All right, they're not still in the same district this year. They're not. They're not in the same district.
Walton, Freeport, South Walton, and Pensacola Catholic.
Right, the Walton County teams and Pensacola Catholic. So not a district game, but that's always a fun one. We'll try to get to that one for sure. And then
bye.
Just one. Go Gators. Tough way to go into a bye, but they are 0-3, but they definitely could use the rest. I know when you always have so little amount of players that Wewa Hitchka has, you're always getting banged up. That's been the story all 4 years that I've been here. I'm sure they could use the rest.
Players are excited about what Coach Edwards is bringing to the program. He was their defensive coordinator last year, head coach this year. So, he's working them. He's figuring it out. Things don't happen instantly. So we'll see what happens through the remainder of the season for them. But hopefully good things.
Gotcha. Well, I don't want to drop an absolute bomb on you guys this week, but I do have a little bit of news. Kaleigh will be leaving us soon during football season. I'll let her kind of talk a little bit about her next venture, and she will be here next week. She's not gone. This is not the end of the night, but she will be leaving us.
I know. I hate this. But yeah, I'm just going to go home to North Carolina for a little bit, job searching. My contract ended this summer here, so just decided it was time to kind of try to make that next step, and applying for jobs while having a full-time job, especially during football season, is a little difficult. It was an easier decision before the football season started. Now we're in the thick of it, and now I'm like, well, do I have to go? So it's going to be really sad. I've loved every second of covering all the sports here. Football's been so fun. Friday nights are definitely the highlight in the fall, the best shift. It's a long one for us, but we love every second of it and getting to, do all those highlights and everything. So I'm definitely going to miss it, soaking up every second of it, but I'll still definitely pay attention and tune in every week for sure.
Save the tears and the speech for next week.
Yeah.
She will be back next week.
One more week.
Just wanted to, let you guys ease into it. I don't want, anybody, running and screaming and crying and telling me that I'm terrible without Kaleigh here. We'll get to that. You can let me know that in a couple of weeks. But
I'll tune into the comment.
Just wanted to ease you guys into that. We'll let you know next week, and we might have somebody to introduce you to next week. We'll get there. That is going to. Do we have anything else tonight? Yeah, let's throw Franklin County on there one more time. I know Kaleigh loves talking about Sadik.
Yeah, Sadik Jones, he was an 8th grader playing on the Franklin County basketball team when they made a run to the Final Four. And from there, it was like, okay, who's this kid? Then the next summer, before his freshman year of high school, he was just nailing bombs in a home run derby over here, I think in Panama City Beach. So, had to talk to him after that, seeing what he did from basketball, then what he does for baseball. And then now we get to see him playing football. I mean, the kid does it all. He's a huge athlete. I know last Monday night he was up visiting Florida State, getting to watch that game. Not a great game to watch, but he looked great tonight on the field. Just like I said 100 times, he's an athlete. So he had a good return last week. It was exciting to actually get some highlights from him on our own footage. I knew they were inevitable. That was going to happen. We were going to see Sadik Jones. But big play for the sophomore. So he has plenty of ball left to play at the high school level. And we know he's going to be playing somewhere for potentially mini sports after that.
3-0 Seahawks. Coach Cooper, I'm going to be giving you a call next week. We're going to be talking about your team and improving to 3-0. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. If you want to watch any of the highlights, we'll have them posted on mypanhandle.com shortly. We will try and see if it was a 49-14 or a 50-14 final score.
We'll get the
Walton.
facts.
We'll do our best. I apologize. Before we go, I'm praying for you guys in St. Joe. We love you guys, and our hearts are with you. We're looking forward to a bright future. We're praying for the family. We're praying for Coach Tanner Jones and those guys. We love you, and we'll update you when we know all the facts and everything going on there. But that's going to do it for this week. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the sport. Y'all have a good night.